Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, this is Boisterous coming to you with some Diamond League destruction out of the map Entombed Valley. Spying up here in the top of the left-hand corner, we have EthanKairos as the blue Protoss, and down here in the bottom right-hand corner, we do have Cadoink as the red Terran, as I really quickly just check to make sure that this is the right league. And I do believe Cadoink is in the Diamond League, and I think EthanKairos is in the Diamond League too, just by proxy. So, you know, I'm going with it. And if anybody's wondering why I'm commentating Cadoink's game, look at the chat. Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right. Somebody noticed who Cadoink was because they watch my videos. So EthanKairos, yeah, that's right. So anyway, we're just gonna watch Cadoink suck at StarCraft 2, and we're gonna see why I carry him through every commentary we ever do. Because let's be honest, all right, just go watch those videos. That was I'm the real reason that Cadoink is so widely beloved. But actually, no, not really. He's a good commentator in and of himself. And if you want to check out his stuff, you can head over to youtube.com/user/Cadoink Studios, or I think he also works with Non-Esports, which is NON Esports on YouTube. And those links will be in the description because I like to promote his shit, and you know, I like to get other people viewers. I like to pass them on a little bit. All right. So anyway, in the announcements thread, I almost said achievements, but that wouldn't quite fit in with what I'm about to say, and my computer should stop lagging. Bad computer. No. I bet my computer wouldn't lag as much if I didn't hit it so much, but I hit it like every 3 days. But anyway, I digress. In the announcements thread, I am doing some stuff with one goal, which is of course the mod for StarCraft 2. I have already posted up one video that they've sent to me between Lelouch and Harstam, and I'll probably be making those videos on Thursdays. So you guys will get just an extra video from me a week, which should be nice and fancy if you enjoy what I do already. That will of course not cut in at all to my schedule on getting community replays done. It will purely be an on-the-side kind of project. And I look forward greatly to working with those guys because it's a cool project. It's basically just a public test realm, really, because Blizzard doesn't do a whole lot of betas and public test servers. They do some cool stuff where they make specific community maps with different changes, but they would never change anything nearly as radically as One Goal has done. And yeah, see, that and Cadoink promised that I would cast it, and he was like, yo dog, I promised this guy that you would cast this, so so you better cast it, because I promised it, and now I need to do it. So thank you, Cadoink, for signing me up for commentating people's games. Nice job, man, nice job. And yeah, I hate when Cadoink wins, so these are all very good points that Cadoink's making, and I feel like I'm commentating through time with these players. You know, I'm communicating with them through the time waves. What would you call time as a form of travel? Man, how the hell did I get onto this topic? I am rambling a lot in this commentary. There's not a whole lot of interesting stuff going down. Basically, we have the gasless FE out of Cadoink, which is no surprise. He does that all the freaking time whenever he talks about playing Terran. He's like, dude, listen. Listen to me right now. Listen to the words that are coming out of my mouth hole. Alright? Gasless FE. Every game. Doesn't matter who you're playing against. If you're playing against a Zerg player, gasless FE. If you're playing against a Terran player, gasless FE. If you're playing against a Protoss player, double gasless FE. Like, just double gasless. Don't even think about taking a gas. As soon as you see Protoss, just instantly clear the idea of gas out of your mind. Now, of course, he is going for gas currently, so maybe he's going a little bit back on that. However, he's still Cadoink, and he still really likes freaking gasless FEs. For some reason, I have never quite understood. It looks like we do have warp gates coming down for EthanKairos. An interesting positioning on these buildings. I think it's going to be fun. We're going to play the game of, will he get any units stuck? Which is always, it might actually be my favorite game in the StarCraft 2 universe. It might even be my more favorite game than StarCraft. It's just the minigame, which is, will you suck at setting rally points? Because if you do, you get units trapped, and then you just get to chuckle, because you have an immortal that is there for base defense, and the immortal is like, I'm going to kill any tanks that get within 7 range of these gateways. And then they just die to Marines, because Marines are the only things that actually get that close. But anyway, we do have Cadoink going for 3 barracks at this point. We do have the 1 tech lab down, researching stim pack before combat shields, which I still think is a bad decision because combat shields is cheap, it's faster, and it makes stim more effective on Marines. So just research combat shields first because, you know, you can. You're going to have an extra 50-50 if you're going for mass Marines, especially in a style like this where you also get double gas. And I doubt he's going to be going for any amount of mech. So this factory is probably just going to be so that he can build a starport later. He's not going to be going for any amount of like very heavy tank play. He does have his engineering bay coming down currently, so he is going to be going for those upgrades on the Marines and the Marauders. We have the army from EthanKairos starting to take a little bit of shape. Only 1 sentry so far. I would not be surprised to see that army get boosted up. We currently do have 2 observers out on the map, so he's going to be getting a reasonable amount of scouting information down on his opponent. He should be able to quite easily, you know, see what's going on. Now, of course, there isn't a whole lot going on. It's literally just Marines currently. We do have the reactor going down, which will of course be swapped onto the starport, so we are going to see some double medevac production taking place very, very shortly in this game, which is going to be a little bit fancy to watch. However, it's kind of just standard Terran play as far as Terran play goes. Nothing all too interesting yet coming out of the Protoss camp. It looks like Robotics Bay is going down, so it's going to be a 3 gateway right up into Colossi. There isn't even Immortals coming out currently, which isn't really that strange when you're playing against Terran, because Colossi kind of suck, or Immortals kind of suck against Terran, because you usually are going to have a situation where you're fighting Marines with Immortals, which works out poorly. Now, of course, if you manage to get the Marine or the Immortal up to a Marauder, then it actually works out okay, but you never do that, so you kind of just die and get screwed if you ever go with a decision like that. It looks like the scouting factory is going to be moving out across the map for Cadoink. The brave adjutant that got put onto that factory is driving it right to its doom. And man, are these buildings slow. You would think that if you had like the power to be able to make rocket-powered buildings, you could be able to make them just a little bit faster. Just a little bit, because you know this building must be using a lot of force to actually push itself up from the ground from the jets on the bottom, and I honestly don't understand how it's able to push itself up with these 4 jets, but it's not able to propel itself faster than like 3 miles per hour on these ones behind it. It doesn't actually make any sense to me, and I also don't get how it's balancing itself unless these front 2 jets are actually blowing back extremely hard. Because in theory, if you were pushing something along like that, it would kind of just front flip, because this is not very aerodynamically inclined. I doubt this thing would be able to fly this well if it was actually created in real life. But, you know, some engineer get on that, make a scale version of the flying factory, and then get back to me, because I want to know. I'm very, very interested in this. And I have actually watched this factory fly all the way across the map. That is such an achievement that I'm actually just going to let it fly right up into the enemy base. And then I'm actually going to leave it. So there are Colossi coming out from EthanKairos currently. And I think he told me that his name was from a book before, because I thought it was very silly that he chose his full name to be his internet name, which, as you all know from like 6th grade, is a bad decision. You never do that. Bad internet kids getting onto those websites that promote pornography. Man, bad internet kids. Maybe that was just me. But anyway, we do have 2 Colossi currently out from EthanKairos. He does have range currently upgraded for them, so he will have a reasonable army set up here. Cadoink going with an interesting strategy, not quite going for double upgrades, just actually single upgrades at this point in time. Macroing actually quite well for Cadoink, considering the fact that he usually is much worse at StarCraft, and I'm very proud of him. This must have been practicing just a little bit about this. His army isn't too huge as far as bio goes, but it's not awful. He's doing pretty well. It looks like this scouting factory is finally going to get picked off by the stalker forces. The adjutant trying to bravely fly it away, but I doubt it's gonna work. It would appear to be going quite poorly for this factory. And also, guys, wouldn't you think it would be hilarious if you were able to like walk Colossi into factories and kind of just shove them over a little bit so that they just crash into the ground? Like, if you walk up behind a factory with a Colossi and you manage to like nudge it with your Colossus so that it just goes like tink, douche, and then just falls straight forward onto like its factory face, I should say, and just get absolutely trained, that would be hilarious, wouldn't it? It looks like we do have 6 Vikings out from Cadoink. That's actually a pretty reasonable amount of Vikings to be facing this army with. However, he does only... Oh, no, it's 7 Vikings. I was completely wrong at counting. I am super bad at that. He does only have 3 medevacs, which is not quite a reasonable amount of medevacs. So he is going to be moving right up into this engagement. It looks like he is going to want to push, and this is a good time to push. Psionic Storm still has 40 seconds left on it, so there is going to be no side storms. It looks like the Vikings are going to be looking around, trying to scout out the location of the Colossi, and they have found it, and the Colossi are starting to get sniped off by these Vikings, and there are not a lot of Stalkers to prevent these Colossi from going down, and actually, these Colossi might all be eaten alive by these Vikings. Oh my god, Cadoink with the horrible micro, letting one Colossi almost get away there. Oh my god. But it looks like all the Colossi have gone down, and some nice stutter stepping from Cadoink is going to be able to clean up a fair bulk of the front of this army. Psystorm is now complete, so we are going to see some nice Psystorms coming up from EthanKairos at any point, unless that High Templar literally just runs up to the front of the base and does not give a crap. It looks like we do have some nice positioning from that Colossi, going to be able to snipe off quite a few units, and all of these bio units are extremely low health, and this is what happens when you don't have any medevacs at all. You end up taking a whole ton of damage on your bio army and just getting absolutely face rolled. But I think that engagement was pretty nice for Cadoink, I would have to say. It definitely swung heavily into Cadoink's favor near the end. He managed to keep all of his medevacs alive, which is extremely important. He managed to keep most of his Vikings alive, which is quite nice. He managed to take over map control. He managed to take out all of the Colossi and reduce that Colossi count, which is quite important. And more importantly, he managed to stop a buildup of High Templar. Because as soon as that attack started pushing out across the map, EthanKairos instantly needed to start transitioning into those gateway units instead of keeping himself building High Templar, because High Templar would have been much more useful when it comes to actually fighting off that army. It looks like we do have EthanKairos with a reasonable amount of production at this point. It looks like he is up to 8 warp gates right now, so those 8 warp gates are going to be quite useful in the coming engagements for just completely repopulating his army very quickly. As far as Cadoink goes, it looks like we are going to have ghosts on the way fairly soon. 2 ghosts, in fact, in production currently. I think there might be 1 or 2 with the army there. There are 3 with the army, actually, and 2 in production at any given time. And it looks like he's going to be switching into a much heavier Marauder Ghost composition, a little bit less on the Marines. There's still a lot of Marines because you produce Marines extremely quickly, and like that's no joke at all. But I think he's trying to kind of wait it out a little bit more with Ghosts, because Ghosts are extremely useful against the Protoss army. They are, in fact, like amazing, like freaking amazing. They're such good units. Oh my god, Ghosts. Whenever I see Ghosts as a Protoss player, I just start to cry inside, because if your opponent is good at using them, you just lose. Because if they're good at blanketing those EMPs, it's very hard to come back from having your entire army EMP'd, especially if you're going for something like EthanKairos is going for, which is reasonably heavy on the High Templar. Actually, he's not going too heavily. He does have multiple Colossus, and he's making a Colossus at a time, which is going to be very useful to him when engagements start to happen a lot more frequently, because it's... High Templar are very good until they're just getting sniped by Ghosts, and until, you know, they're just getting absolutely wrecked by EMPs. And we do have, oh no EMP going down right there. In fact, it just kind of got sniped by Colossi. That was a little bit of a silly decision by Cadoink. He kind of needs to get some cloaking down on those Ghosts. However, now that his Ghosts have kind of been revealed, the Colossi are going to be working their way, or the Observers are going to be working their way out of the robotics facilities. And in fact, he is up to 2 robos, so he could, in theory, start going for multiple Colossi at a time. At least I think he's up to 2 robos. Where's the second? Oh, there's the second robo. It's just hiding behind the base, and it's only producing Observers. Okay, I guess that makes sense, kind of. And it looks like Cadoink is just posturing himself, getting ready for a possible invasion into enemy grounds, and EthanKairos peeking out a little bit from his base. If we look at the army supply count, which is... Oh god, that was sound. Oh no. There we go. If we look at the army supply count, we do have EthanKairos in a little bit of a lead here. But this is basically the maxed out amount. And oh my god, no EMPs for Cadoink. Ouch. Ouch. He got like 1 EMP off, and I don't think he even hit a High Templar. Oh, that was painful to watch. He does still have a reasonable amount of production, but it's all going towards Marines, and Marines are not going to do amazingly well against this army. He is managing to hold his own with some nice stutter step micro against these Zealots. He is going to be able to peel apart a little bit of the Zealots, but he lost all of his medevacs. He lost all of his ghosts. He lost a lot of gas units in that engagement, and that was just rough to watch. And it's going to be very, very hard to come back from a deficit like this because, you know, you have the High Templar in your opponent's army. You have 4 Colossi in your opponent's army. You have no Vikings. You have no medevacs. What the fuck are you going to build? There are 7 High Templars on the way. And, oh, God, Cadoink. 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 That wasn't what you wanted to do with your ghosts. You wanted to win with the ghosts. You wanted to hit E and then click. At least I think it's E. That's the hotkey for EMP. I would not be surprised if it wasn't, because this game loves to prove me wrong. However, I think it's E. So you hit E, and then you click. Alright, and I'm just going to check it. Alright, apparently I can't actually see what the hotkeys are in caster mode, in replay mode. That is quite annoying indeed. But again, I mean, this is kind of just going to be a steamroll for EthanKairos at this point. Losing those ghosts, losing those medevacs, losing those Vikings was really just a death knell for the Terran army. And you can't come back from a deficit like that. You can't come back from losing all those units. And oh god, the storms. I need to find where is the High Templar that was responsible for this. Is there any High Templars in this? Where's the High Templar? What the fuck? Did the High Templar get sniped? What? Where did that High Templar go? Oh, okay, maybe it's one of these. Oh my god, this one has 20 kills. 20 kills, 2 kills. Alright, so I think it was this one that got them big storms off, and that was just hilarious to watch. So congratulations to EthanKairos. You beat Cadoink. Not that big of a surprise, but still a reasonable accomplishment. He's actually a much better player than I am. I just like to make fun of him because he's an easy target and he takes it well. So anyway, guys, if you'd like your games commentated, you can send them on into boisteroussc2@gmail.com. Also, if you'd like to watch any other Boisterous action, you can head over to youtube.com/user/boisteroussc2. And I think that's going to be it for me commentating this game for today and me commentating for today in general. And I need to go bring my car to the shop because for some reason the freaking front tire keeps running out of air and I am extremely annoyed with it. So I'm going to go do that, and this is Boisterous signing out.